Hey everybody, welcome to the session on live streaming. And I hope you've learned a lot this week, and hopefully you'll learn a lot more about live streaming from our esteemed panel here today. So let's start by having everybody introduce themselves. And I will start. I'm Lisa Picarille. I'm a content consultant. My background is journalism, and I focus on monetization of content through a variety of different methods for e-commerce companies and agencies and affiliates. And next we have Ceata Lash.
Yes, my name is Ceata Lash. I am the inventor and owner of PuffCuff LLC. I retail a product.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I retail a product called the PuffCuff. It's the only hair clamp for thick, curly, textured hair.
Hi, Pat. How's it going? Hi, everybody.
Pat's here.
I am Stephanie Lichtenstein, and I am the founder of a boutique social media agency called Micromedia Marketing.
And I am Patrick Allmond. I run a digital marketing agency out of Oklahoma City.
Well, let's get started here. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with live streaming. We have people in here. You're doing Facebook Live. People want to raise their hand. Anybody Facebook Live? Anybody doing Periscope? Okay. So you guys might have attended the keynote yesterday. Anybody who went to Scott Stratton's keynote and heard him speak? You hear him at the end talking about Facebook Live and sort of nothing worse than people who are presenting and maybe not professionals and they can't edit things. Well, I gotta say, I disagree a little bit with him. I think there's a lot of great uses for these live streaming tools, and these folks are gonna tell you some great benefits of it. I think the challenge and what you should have probably tried to take away from that or interpret is that you gotta have good content. So, not all of us wanna see our friends, kids ride a tricycle and fall down and get the notification, your cousin Joe's live right now. But if you're a marketer and you've got great content, there are people that want to consume it. And as you can see from this slide, YouTube has been forever just growing by leaps and bounds, and hundreds of millions of videos are watched every day. And when you reach these people, it's been proven that you'll get higher rankings, that there's a lot of more engagement, that people are sharing things. So there's a lot of benefits to doing it. So in addition to Facebook Live, there's Periscope, which many of you probably have heard. YouTube has a live product called YouTube Live. We've got some others listed here, as you can see. And what you mostly are using these services for is to broadcast live, to host things, like you can archive everything and have it on demand for your audience. And hopefully you're monetizing this and doing well. And you can also have tools for analyzing the video content. So what I mean by that is checking on the stats, and those are the things you want to look for when you're looking for live streaming. So I think we're going to go to the panel now and sort of talk about, here are some of the reasons why you want to live stream. But I would love for Ceata to talk about why does it work so well for you to live stream as opposed to maybe other types of products?
I'll start with saying that we started the company about 3 years ago and launched the product 2 years ago. The product is a hair clamp, but it works differently than all other hair clamps on the market. So we found that a lot of our customer base were trying to use the product in the way that they had used everything else, and no matter what we put out there literature-wise, just people don't read. Just so they were more or less saying, the product doesn't work, no matter how much content that we actually put out, whether it be social media or within our descriptions, and we only sell the product online. So we found that we discovered that there was a disconnect between the way our product actually works and how the customer was using it. So we basically decided that the way to reach the audience and communicate this issue more effectively would be through live streaming. We tried Skype tutorials. Everybody thought that was creepy. Once I offered, a customer, I can try to teach it to you by Skype, and then, I had a couple people think I was, interested in other things, which I wasn't. Then we tried Periscope, and actually, because we tried Skype in 2015, didn't go very well. When we met with our marketing team at the beginning of 2016, we decided to go with Periscope, and Periscope at that time was fairly new to us. But it was like, okay, it seems like it'll fit the bill, let's try it. So we tried Periscope. But actually, at our kickoff meeting, our planning meeting for the year, in terms of curating content, we actually set our Periscope content calendar at the beginning of the year to make sure that we actually did have, we weren't just coming on saying, hey, how you doing? It's Sunday evening, what y'all watching? It's actually, we could prep our audience weeks prior through our other social media channels to say, this is what we're going to be talking about. And we always do, after doing research too, we always decided that Sunday evening at 7:30 was going to be our time slot. So we prepared the audience, prepared our customers, prepared our audience to what to look for, and then actually kind of monitored the feedback that we were getting once we put the topic out there to see if people were interested or not.
So if having a demonstrable product and being able to show this to people and show them how it works and how it's different, what did that do for your business? Did that translate into sales? And were you able to see that from these live streaming feeds?
Well, we've got some women in here. My customer base is mainly women. And point blank, us naturally as creatures, we are not, in order to use a beauty product or a hair product, it usually has to be recommended by a friend. It's not something that you want to go out and decide to be the guinea pig on. So we found that the Periscope or live streaming in general, even it could make it a more personal conversation between my audience and myself, to where I was not necessarily the inventor or the creator of this. It was, hey, girlfriend, this is what I tried, this is what I do, this is how it works. And then they could communicate back with me because with things that were either misconceptions they had or other things that they read on social media, from other social media channels, from people who had not necessarily tried the product but thought they knew the product. So it was a myth destroyer as well as opening up a casual dialogue with my audience. And when I do my Periscopes, as you can see, I'm in my husband's office. I'm not, I'm not in any place that's any necessarily polished. I don't try to make my Periscopes or live streams very polished. I mean, my dog might walk in. I got 3 kids. I might be like, okay, shut the door, So it's a lot of times that I get the feeling that my audience feels like I'm relatable. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be relatable. I wanted to show them I'm a regular person. I have the same problems and issues that you do. And my product technically is supposed to help with regular everyday problems.
But
and to answer that question, I'm a rambler, so I'm sorry. Yes, what we were able to see is more people would at least visit the website. Even if they did not decide to purchase, we could see them checking us out on other channels. When we really, which is moving on to another topic, when we really saw a boost in sales is when we switched from Periscope to Facebook Live.
Okay.
Should I go there?
Well, I think we're going to talk to Stephanie about a few things, and then we can talk about leveraging your Facebook audience and using Facebook Live. But let's talk, because Stephanie does a lot with Facebook Live and Snapchat, and you were going to get into some of the specific experiences that you've had with your clients and examples of when it's been successful
Yeah.
and why?
I think a couple things that have been brought up that are really good points is, most of my clients are e-commerce brands. So when you're selling a product online, it's hard for your customer to really understand maybe how it works, like how Ceata can actually give examples and do demos. But a lot of times, a video can say a lot more than just a photo. So one thing that we noticed with Facebook Live, when we did switch to Facebook Live, is you can leverage a big audience that you already have there. And you'd be surprised, but a lot of the views that you get, 2/3 of the views come after you even go live. And we usually pay to promote what we put on Facebook Live. So depending on the budget you have, you can reach 50,000 people and only be spending, $20. And so there's a really big audience on Facebook Live. So that's something that you can't really do. You can't really pay to promote on Periscope or on Snapchat. So we've seen a really good growth on Facebook Live, and planning and having a content calendar and having something special for people to use, like a promo code, saving it for the end of your Facebook Live session. That way you can actually go back and track sales that you're getting from a specific Facebook Live. And but switching over to Snapchat, which actually Facebook tried to purchase last November for $3 billion, so not million, billion, and Snapchat actually turned it down, and they're valued at $10 billion now. My experience with Snapchat has been very interesting because when I first joined, I think it was 2014, and I was on there for like 10 minutes. I downloaded the app, and then I was bombarded with like some really weird messages from guys, and I was like a newlywed, and I was like, I'm out. Like I can't do Snapchat. Like this is not for me. At that point, it was a much younger demographic. So it, not only that, but it was, messages would get erased really quickly, and it was a little bit, not gonna lie, it was a little sketchy. This year, I've been looking at Snapchat more for marketing and how do companies actually use it and how can you actually, make sales from Snapchat. And what I've seen is that when Instagram and Pinterest came around, things became very visual. People really don't read that many articles anymore. They just want things that are visual. That was just images. What I've seen on Snapchat is that, everything, all the news and everything that comes about is all video. People don't want to read that much anymore. So, all the information that I used to love to read on Twitter, and I still use Twitter for certain things, trending topics and articles and news that I used to see on Twitter, I'm finding that all out on Snapchat now. So it's not just a young demographic anymore. It's 25 to 35-year-olds is like their fastest growing demographic, and it's surpassed, it's third after Facebook and Instagram. It surpassed Twitter, it surpassed Pinterest. So it's something that you need to pay attention to and at least reserve a business name for. And the way that I've seen people really using Snapchat is by doing things that are a little more exclusive. So I have a client that she's like a fashion blogger, and she has a clothing line. And people love seeing video tutorials from her. And she actually wears her hair in little buns. And she's in Utah, and she has a big following. Like when you're in Utah, she's like a celebrity to everybody there. We're creating a filter with her little buns. So when there's a live event going on, if you can geo-target anything, so if you can pick like a concert or even like a conference, you can create your own filter, and they charge you based on the location and how big the location is. So the more that you can pinpoint the location, the less you'll pay. But it's a filter with little buns, and you'd be surprised how much people love it. But what we have her doing on Snapchat is doing sneak peeks. So when she's picking what clothing, like what t-shirt she wants to release with her new clothing line, she'll show her fans different options, and they'll actually message her and let her know which ones they like more. So we've actually used Snapchat not only to sell things, but to even find out what our fans really want so that we know what's going to sell. And that's been working really well. That's one of the things that we've done a lot on Snapchat. what matters and the only thing you can really measure on Snapchat are the views. So up here I have an example. I have a video that got viewed over 100,000 times. I was actually with Ceata in Chicago, and Shark Tank was doing a casting, and things that are behind the scenes get picked up a lot. So it's not like on Instagram or Twitter where you would use a hashtag to get something picked up. You instead can tag it by the location that you're in, and you can also place it in a specific story. So I placed it under a Chicago story, and one of the big things that was coming up on Snapchat was the Shark Tank casting. So my video got picked up and it got viewed over 100,000 times. Now, you can't have a link, so you could either maybe to monetize or do something with that, you can either write your website URL, or you can even just mention it when you're speaking, or maybe wear, you know, Ceata has shirts that say PuffCuff on it. You can do it in a way that's a little more discreet that would work well to send people to your site.
So Patrick has a little bit of a different approach, because even when he's live, Ceata's been very successful. I mean, she plans it out, but you're a little bit more laid back. You're using some free tools. You're kind of keeping it basic. But Patrick, you are full on, you know, production value, building a studio. So why don't you talk about maybe how people can do that, what kind of investment that takes, and also who would need to do that? Like, does somebody like Ceata need to do that, or is that more for a business or a professional service?
Is mine? Oh, there we go. Okay. I would never question what Ceata's doing because it's working for her. And so far be it from me being the only male up here to make any comment about what any woman up here is doing whatsoever. I mean, I just know what I should and shouldn't do if I want to stay alive and escape the room. So, I've always had the goal of just kind of having a higher production value, and I don't know if it's because I'm a little bit of a nerd or it's because I'm hanging out a lot more in newsrooms, as you see in the image right here. I do a lot of local TV in Oklahoma City, and so every single time I go to a studio, I see what they have and how it gives better audio, better video, and I try to basically incorporate that in my office. So yeah, I've bought microphones and lights and green screens and a copy of Final Cut Pro, and so I'm at the other end when I do my video work. And I actually started doing my video work a long time before live streaming got really popular. I used to be on a radio show in Oklahoma City on an AM/FM station, and it was on Sunday, and it was a business show. And what I would do is from the radio station, I would live stream the video on the internet, and I had a chat room. And the cool thing about that was it allowed me to pick up like an audience all over the U.S., even though I was only broadcasting on AM/FM in Oklahoma City, the audio and the live chat, anybody could join in. So that was my first exposure, and that was Ustream. And so, you know, and that was, you know, as you know, I think Livestream.com and Ustream have been around for quite some time. So live streaming isn't terribly new. But outside of the TV stuff right here, you know, I run a marketing agency, and I'm starting to incorporate a lot of what we do there. And the best example I have for you is I just started working with a local, the largest fireworks warehouse in Oklahoma City. And the gentleman there knew nothing about marketing, didn't have any really good videos online, and he dumped all that on me. And my big experiment for him is they have a drawing every year on July 4th. You know, obviously July 4th is their peak day of 4th of July, Independence Day. And usually they just do a drawing. But what we did this time is we did a bunch of videos, recorded videos leading up to this giveaway that they have. And this giveaway is what everyone comes for. It's a $500 giveaway. And it's of the biggest fireworks package they have there, called the Godfather. The thing is taller than me. That's how many fireworks are in it. And I really wanted to make that a big deal. So we did some videos teasing, you know, leading up to that, some recorded videos, and then we did live videos on the day of the broadcast, and actually several, you know, like the hour before, 15 minutes before. And we noticed that what we did, what happened is when the actual live stream came around, we had a lot more participation, I think, because of all that teasing we did. Because you didn't have to be there to win, but you had to have come in the store and bought something, and so your name went in the box. And so we told people, oh, you can go ahead and go on home, but tune in, you know, at 2 p.m. or whatever it was on Facebook to see if your name had been called. And so with every Facebook update we did leading up to it, people were like, Has it happened yet? Did I miss it? Was my name called? That over and over and over. And and I just did a live stream from my phone, which you don't have to now. You can do higher production quality value. But that was, our big experiment probably for our largest client. And I like all things, I don't think that I could attribute a direct sale to it. However, I can attribute the social media reach and the shares and the likes. We got a lot of those this year because just for the entire week and even months leading up to the big Godfather giveaway, we were pushing that and getting participation. And it also helped the fact that there was a junior high school and a high school marching band that do all the volunteer work. So all the kids at all those schools are sharing that with all their friends. And it was really interesting because in addition to the live feed stuff we were working on, we also had another challenge. You cannot advertise fireworks on Facebook or on AdWords. Isn't that right? You know that, Pat. Nothing with the word fireworks is considered an explosive. So I could do no PPC, no PPM, none of that at all. It had to be completely organic. Yeah, I found that out the day after I took on the account. So, yeah, I didn't know that ahead of time. So we had to be organic. So we used a lot of video and then, that live video push up into that big event. And he's going to be a client next year. He already said he's very happy with the results. So I'm probably going to even do a bigger production next year. I'll haul in my lights and my professional in camera and probably set up like a little mini studio. And we'll do like fireworks TV or something. That's my take on that.
So I think one of the things that we should probably talk about is when everybody thinks about, live streaming. So there's two components to it. It's happening now and we want to capture it, but there's also preparation that goes into it. And I think that's one of the keys in, not just having content that is maybe amusing but not really valuable to anybody. If you're trying to sell something or market something, there needs to be a concerted effort behind it. And, Ceata is saying they had a content calendar. They knew what they were going to do. And I mean, it doesn't need to be specifically scripted, but the other portion of it is, which you also alluded to, and I'm sure Patrick and Stephanie can talk about, is many of the views don't occur when the event is actually live, and the benefits often come afterwards. So you can archive things, you can add keywords to it, you might be able to be found more easily through organic search, you may be ranking higher. There are a whole bunch of things that you can do that occur that end up helping you afterwards. So it isn't just sort of like, this is happening now, let's point this, we don't know what we're doing, and we hope people are watching. I think there's a lot more preparation. So maybe, Stephanie, you can talk about some of the advantages afterwards, or what people should be doing with this to take advantage that it occurred.
I think that's a really good point. Think about the video long term, and she brought up SEO value. It's not as competitive, and one of the things that we do with most clients, whether you're doing a video on Snapchat or on Facebook or on any platform, is you can actually download the video and then go and save it and upload it onto YouTube, and then add keyword tags and add your website and do things with the video so that it's giving you like a lot of long-term value. I know you do that. I don't know if you want to mention the value from the videos, but a lot of people find her product through the videos as well.
Yeah, definitely. But on Periscope, you got to have that thing turned on before you do the video, or else you're going to lose it. I've learned that the hard way several times, but we no longer use Periscope, so that's there. For Facebook Live, that's when we've been able to really get a lot of traction organically and paid after we've already not taped.
What's a tape?
Right. Already CD'd it, already VHS,
Yeah, Betamax, we already Betamax it.
Right. And we do get a lot of people that I get responses after the fact. It's like, I came across your Facebook Live, it already taped, Sorry, I didn't get to see it live, but I want to know when your next one is coming out. So yeah, we've gotten out a lot more from Facebook Live than we have from Periscope. But one thing I was going to say in terms of preparing beforehand, for us, yes, we created the content calendar, but also in between, we will run little social media campaigns asking our audience, what do you want to discuss? Is there a question that you have? Give us ideas. And we will put those into our calendar also saying, and we also sometimes promote that fan that gave us that topic to say, you know, if she's thinking about this, probably you are too. This is what we're going to discuss on our next Facebook Live.
Yeah, spend time answering questions, because that's something, like, a lot of the times, and that's why we started polling fans as to which product they would rather have. Like, you can save a lot of money and do a lot of research and talk to your customers directly, and you can target exactly the ideal customers that you want when you promote it, or you can promote it to fans and friends. But take time to answer those questions, and you can learn a lot, you know, about what people want out of your product.
I was going to say, Ceata also brought up a really good thing that I try to do in all my videos is everyone on TV loves their 15 minutes of fame, right? Well, on Facebook, it's like 15 nanoseconds of fame. So if somebody participates or asks a specific question, make sure you use their name and you address them directly. It'll make them excited. They'll be more inclined to share it, and I guarantee you that they'll like you more, and they'll do, you know, a lot of what Scott was talking about when it comes to just participating and interacting with social media. That's extremely, extremely important. So that's really good that if someone, you know, on the Facebook Live, you have the side by side, and you can see over here who's watching and who's asking questions. You can say, hey, Bob, hey, Ceata, hey, Stephanie. That's a very good question, Stephanie. Let me address that kind of thing. Make sure you address people, you know, by name versus, hey, someone just asked a question, address them by name.
That's a good point. And Snapchat's a lot more personal and like one-on-one with customers, because they can actually just send you private messages. So sometimes they might feel more comfortable telling you something or asking you a question, so you can encourage them to do that, and then they'll send you a private message, and you can go, you know, back and forth with them one-on-one.
So what if somebody just is thinking about doing this and they're saying, you know, okay, you've brought up some good points about maybe why we should do this, but I'm just not really sure, how do I get started? Like, you know, I'm at ground zero. Like, what do I do tomorrow when I get off the flight and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna Facebook Live. What?
I was there, because I know this is probably like, you know, the worst thing to say, but before I launched my company, I was not a Facebook social media person. I really felt like it was, you know, honestly, I felt it was very fickle, and it takes away from the human process or whatever. So I had to force myself to use it, and then I forced myself to hire her to do it for me. But I knew I was going to have to be the one in front of the camera, so in front of my camera. So all I did, I just went and Googled different articles to help me have a successful Facebook Live or for successful Periscope. And it did kind of, the articles that I read, and I think I did give you a couple links that we put in the back of the PowerPoint, that kind of helped me, I think it was a successful, one of the examples was a successful musician who does Periscopes. He launched one of his songs on Periscope, but he continues to do more Periscopes, and I think he does it not in his bathroom, but some other personal place in his house. And it just, from there, because I knew from a brand perspective how I wanted my brand to be perceived and how I wanted it to not be pretentious, I wanted it to be relaxed, I wanted it to be relatable, I was able to take different cues from reading those different articles on how to successfully do it. And then I was nervous, but I took a Xanax before my first one. Nice. And it came out really well. Everybody's like, you did really good. I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
So Yeah, that's the way I did it. So you don't have to medicate yourself, but just
But I guess I really mean, like, from a practical point of view, should somebody say, okay, this is my company and, this is the product or service we have, do I need to go, I already have a Facebook page, should I start telling my audience that we're gonna start doing, like, what exactly do I wanna do to get going?
we were all a little nervous about the first
Yeah.
Facebook Live. So I was sitting in, we were all talking about, okay, does your page have to be a business page? Does it have to, there were some little technical issues we were
Yeah.
all worried about. And so I just sat there in front of my I was taking the dog to the groomer. And I did a real quick one announcing that we're going to have a Facebook Live on Sunday. And it went through fine. So
And
that was it.
Patrick, what was your experience in sort of getting going with that?
I've never really been anything near what you would call shy in front of a camera, so I don't have that so much, but I think oftentimes what I will do before I'll tell someone to do it or not is just to analyze whether or not they themselves should be doing it. You may not be the best face for your own company. And that's something really strong to consider. The affiliate world is a very tech-heavy world. There's a lot of computer geeks. I know because I'm a computer geek. I'm your people. I get it. And oftentimes, us computer geeks, just should not be in front of the camera. I'm sure I was that way at some point in time. So one of your first considerations should be whether or not you should even be the one doing it. And then from there, I like to look at the technical aspects, lighting and sound. Lighting and sound are paramount. I don't know if there's a bigger word than paramount, but you just have to do them in the right environment. You don't need the 3-point lighting kit that I have set up or the perfect lighting, but you need decent lighting. And then from there, you need to work on sound. I would actually probably rank sound a little bit higher than lighting because lighting's pretty easy to fix. Sound not so much. So the technical aspects of it, and then just making sure you are capable of doing it, maybe, like she said, without, or eventually without being medicated.
Right, but you should make sure your Wi-Fi is medicated. It should be, your signal needs to be clear. I've got 3 boys at home that all want to be on at the same time, and I'm steadily yelling,
Speed test.
get off the Wi-Fi. So
Yeah, speed
make
test your
sure-
connection.
Right, yes.
Yeah, speed test your connection. If you can try to use your Wi-Fi connection versus your cellular connection, that's always going to get you better. And if you're going to go to the advanced end, for example, where you're live streaming from your laptop or from a machine, if you have any way at all to go hardline versus Wi-Fi, please do it. Wi-Fi is great. But most of us have, encrypted Wi-Fi connections, which slows down the Wi-Fi connection, and it's just great for data and day-to-day browsing of CNN. But something very intense, data intense, like audio streaming or Facebook streaming, requires a big pipeline. And so, for some of you may not know what a Cat5 cable is, but you can actually plug your computer into the router. That's the best possible option on the technical side.
Snapchat's a lot easier because the videos are really short. It doesn't have to be as polished because they stay up for 24 hours. And if you don't look that great, I throw a filter on and then I look fabulous. Like I'll have
cheating.
lipstick on all of a sudden and I'm like, this is fantastic.
Cheating.
Yeah, people don't look like that in real life, but it does make you look pretty good. One thing I was going to say about her saying if you're going to do it for the first time, I always like to ask my audience across all social platforms, like what do they want to hear? What are they interested in? And I do think it is good to do some sort of a calendar where, let's say you decide your goal is you want to do like one a month or one a week. You can look, seasonal is always easy. Like you can look at back to school, the holidays, things like that are going to be set in stone where you can make it themed around that. And then you can see what do your fans want to hear from you. And then once you start doing it, you'll kind of get into the flow and you'll get more ideas once you start. But I think asking your fans is a good place to start.
And probably once you get going, a great thing to do is sort of try to find ways to capitalize on trends and things that people are talking about because they'll already be searching for things like that. So we're about to come up on the Olympics, and if you were going to do live streaming, if there's a way that isn't sort of a clunky connection, but maybe a more natural fit where you could tie in what you do to the Olympics or sports or Rio or whatever, then you're going to be able to capture a lot more attention because those are the things people are looking for at that point.
Lisa brings up a really good point, but also just really be careful about that particular topic.
Well,
I was reading an article yesterday about how the Olympic Committee, if you do anything that with your company, promoting your company, and you incorporate any of their copyrighted words, they're coming down hard on people, like hashtags and everything.
Well, yes, and obviously that is a big thing, and you do have to be careful of that kind of stuff, and I guess because that's happening, that was sort of foremost in my mind. But
Right.
there's a lot of things like whether it's award ceremonies or
Yeah.
anniversaries or holidays that are coming up that you can kind of capitalize on in a way that's not sort of creepy and slimy.
Yeah. And I mean, you could also, when you said anniversaries, like I always try to tie in if there are people behind your brand, like birthdays of people. And I've actually tied in stuff with Instagrammers where we've had them do takeovers. So you could do the same thing like with your Snapchat or with your Facebook. Have one of your employees or one of your fans, like someone that you work closely with that knows about your product that would have a fun time with it, have them take over for a day. That's something that's been really fun. And then you mentioned something about what people are searching for. And I've done a lot of YouTube videos. People will just ask me questions like, how do I set up a Facebook page? I've made videos just explaining to people and showing them on my screen how to do certain things. And then that has come up on search really highly. So when you're naming your video or when you're thinking of topics, see if you can answer a question or solve a problem and do it around that. And then that'll be really good for search as well.
So my other question would be, how long should these videos, should this live streaming be? I mean, how long I realize a lot of them are seen afterwards, so people maybe have a lot more attention span because they're devoting the time to clicking on it. But when it's live, I mean, is somebody really going to watch you do something for a half hour, 15 minutes? Is there an optimal time for things?
So far, we try to limit ours to a half hour. A lot of times they go over, but I'm trying to monitor the conversations that are coming back. If I'm getting hearts and all this other stuff, then I'll keep talking. But as soon as half an hour, I think is a optimal time to have a goal for. But if the conversation's going good, I don't shut it off. But beyond 45 minutes, I think that's people's attention span, or they just kind of
I
go
would say
away.
like 10 minutes to 30 minutes. But what's nice about it, and you're saying like you can see the hearts and all that, it also shows, like, I don't know if you've seen like a graph of when like a lot of people drop off or when it gets really exciting. So you should look at that and it'll show you what people like the most and then when do they drop off. So then you can kind of decide where you want to time it.
Right, and I would say it depends on, I know everyone hates that, it depends, Andrew, but it depends on the type of video it is. I've seen some people do things incorporating like long-form sales videos that are like an hour long sometimes because there's a lot of Q&A going on. And for like a long-form sales situation, you have to have the time to answer every single question that may come up, every single objection, because you want people before they take that call to action to make sure that they trust you. So I think a while back, Frank Kern and another guy were launching some kind of webinar platform, and they did like a live stream for like an hour or two, and they incorporated some other things in the process. But yeah, it was a continuous live stream. And there's a guy in Florida, a sales trainer called Grant Cardone, who treats his YouTube live station like a regular TV station, and he has hour-long shows. It's sometimes single person, it's sometimes side by side, but there are people now that are treating it just like it's another cable TV station. Mm-hmm. And so if a cable TV show 60 minutes, it'll probably be 60 minutes on the web too.
And so Ceata talked about doing it always at 7:30 on Sunday night. Is that a good strategy for everybody to pick a specific time so that you're sort of setting expectations and people know this person always goes live on Sunday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good to treat it like it is a show, and I've seen a lot of YouTubers doing that. On Facebook, you can go into your Facebook Insights and you can see the time and the day that people visit your page and are the most active. So look at that within Facebook Insights, and then I would pick that time. But it does make people remember, when you're going to have it. And promoting it ahead of time is a big part of it as well. I wouldn't just go live without like letting people know. So maybe like a week ahead of time or a few days ahead of time, promote it, let people know what time you're going to go live, let people know the topic, and then you'll get more people to attend.
And you have to, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, how much promotion or pre-promotion is enough? Because I have to say, as someone who sees these things, sometimes I feel like I've already experienced it because I've gotten 12 notifications. Like, at what point is it, is it sort of something that you would, kind of like how you would treat emailing people about something, or like maybe you do it 3 times and that's
it's not like emailing, because if you notice on Facebook, you don't see that much from businesses anymore, and you have to pay to promote to be seen. Like, 1 to 2% of your fans are actually seeing what's out there. So when you pay to promote, a lot more people will see it. But the chances that they're going to see, let's say you start promoting it a week ahead of time, and say you post about it 3 times, they're not going to see. They probably won't see all 3 unless they have notifications turned on for your page. But you want to space it out, and that's with social media. You kind of have to mix certain things in. So I wouldn't go back to back and post 3 things about the same event. I would mix that in with other content and, make sure that they're seeing other things as well.
And not just a week ahead of time is, a week ahead of time is what we usually do.
If you do too far ahead, they're probably not going
forget
to
about it.
remember.
So I was going to say, there are times, though, where you have to do it off the cuff. I don't know if anyone is in here in a business where you might ever have a crisis type situation and you have to do it off the cuff. And I had notes here to talk about this. A couple of weeks ago, when Southwest had a big computer issue and basically tore all of our lives apart all across the country, I was watching their live streams. They were doing some interesting live streams from the customer service headquarters. And, that's not one of those things they really wanted to schedule. They wanted to talk to clients as soon as possible. And it's actually kind of interesting. I found out the other day when I got here that I actually knew somebody on the Southwest social media team, and we were talking about that, and they're the first airline I know to do that, and they had a lot of really good comments on those. If you go back to their Facebook page and read about the live streaming they were doing, it doesn't, it's not going to get you across the country any faster if you're delayed, but they thought, because they had executives. They had a social media guy running it, but they had executives he was interviewing. I think it made them seem, a lot more personable and willing to. They did their mea culpa on live video, and they said, "We are working our butts off." And they panned around and they showed everyone in the customer service center working their butts off to get everything resolved as soon as possible. I thought that was a really good idea.
One more thing about scheduling. We even if you do your content calendar at the beginning of the year, or try to keep, a month ahead of time, keep in mind the holidays, the NBA playoffs, the what do you call it, the Super Bowl, because we might not be a month, but you just kind of got to think about those in addition. Don't do a Facebook Live on Mother's Day. It's just not going to, no audience.
One real quick thing also, I was reading this just this morning. I'm kind of a social media news, whatever you call it. Facebook is coming out with a Snapchat-like feature. I'm not sure if it's going to be in the Facebook app or if it's going to be like another Facebook app, but Facebook is that billion-dollar behemoth that says, oh, somebody else is doing it right. We can incorporate that too. So look for that to come out soon. And like I said, I just briefly saw the headline. I glanced through it, and I couldn't remember if it was going to be in a different app or in the same app. But Facebook is going to have a Snapchat-like feature pretty soon.
So finally, one of the things that I wanted you guys to address is sort of, we talked about, having the videos archived, the SEO value, but also there's some other uses and repurposing of content where people can make a blog post about it. Would you suggest that people a lot of people are big fans of transcriptions, even of videos. Is that something, Patrick, that you recommend, or is it a case by case?
I definitely recommend it because I'm a horrible writer. And I am just pathetic with the written word, but like I said, I love the camera. So I've even been preaching to people that you can take a video. A video to me is the best way to start a piece of content if you want to repurpose it. I'll create a video, and I've done this before, and I'll create the video, and then you can like give the YouTube link over to a company, SpeechPad at speechpad.com, and they'll transcribe that for $1 a minute into text and just send you back a PDF file. If you're the kind of person that's, for example, always wanted to do a podcast, you can do a video and just strip out the audio and use that for your podcast over on Libsyn. So yeah, especially for the kind of person who's horrible with the written word, I like either taking my live videos or my recorded videos and getting those transcribed to text.
And Ceata?
Not only transcribed, we translate a lot of our videos too. We have a lot of, Brazil is one of our biggest markets, so we translate a lot of our demo videos into Portuguese and have them up on YouTube because they're, they can access, you got to think beyond just the US of A.
Right.
Why Portuguese? Out of curiosity, why Portuguese?
Because that's
Brazil.
what they speak in Brazil.
Oh, okay. Got it. I missed that part. Sorry.
So essentially,
Okay.
I mean, and also you could take stills out of the video, post them on Pinterest.
Right.
You could put them up on Instagram. You can, send out a tweet about, so from one piece of video content, regardless of the size of it, and the bigger, you could even break it up if you wanted. You could probably get 6 or 7 other pieces of content.
Right. I was here a year ago on my birthday, April 10th, April 11th, in New York, in the Marriott Marquis. Jay Beer was speaking, and he was saying from his videos he does, he was able to get like 10 to 12 pieces of content, and it was just multiple platforms, one video, 10 to 12 updates and content types. For the life of me, I can't remember all of them besides the 3 or 4 we've talked about, but that guy repurposes the heck out of everything.
Well, I think we're almost running out of time, and we wanted to make sure that we left some space for anybody that might have a question. So is there anybody out? Okay.
Yeah, you guys keep bringing that slide up right there. Have you guys had a chance to try that at all? If not, what hardware do you guys use?
Which one?
You're asking about a slide, but which particular item are you speaking of?
Yeah, that icon holder right there.
I've heard it's fantastic. Marie Smith was talking about it. I watched a Facebook Live that she did where she was sharing tools. And that one, the one that's in the picture, I believe, is iographer.com. And it works really well. I mean, at least I've heard a lot of people use it and they really like it.
So, Steph, you need to let me repeat the question.
Oh, sorry.
Anybody else with a question?
Hardware do you guys use? I mean, you alluded to you've got quite production value, but the other two panelists.
So he's asking what hardware you use, Patrick, and I need to repeat things for the
Oh, okay.
for the videos because people may not be able to hear what you're saying.
Oh, okay. So my hardware, I'm actually interested with those two used. A while back, I dropped a grand on a really nice Panasonic HD camera, and so I'll record my video. If I can actually feed that like into my laptop and then into something like Wirecast up here. I bought a 3-point light system on Amazon. The only brand name I can remember there is Cowboy. It's called Cowboy Lighting Kit, and the goodness gracious, that was under $100. And the green screen I use actually came from an old video editing kit I have, because green screen, it's not like you get better and better green screens. It's a green screen. It doesn't improve over time. That came in an old software package of mine. And then my microphone that I use now is a Rode, RODE, Filmmaker wireless kit. I think that cost me about $200 or $300. So that's my high-end setup. But
For me, this is my equipment right here. And then I did go ahead and purchase a iPhone tripod from Amazon. And it helped, but nothing fantastic.
oh, go ahead.
Pat?
You mentioned the green screen, but what are you dropping in behind you?
For most of the part, oftentimes it'll just be infinite white type stuff. Every now and then I might do something that looks really fancy, like a library or like a bookcase or something. I don't have a good environment. But I was told a while back by a professional film guy, and then, by the way, we're getting more towards the recorded video side of things. I was told a while back by a professional film guy that if you do stuff on chroma key or green screen in the background, you're basically your options are unlimited for what you want to put in the background. for the future, especially if you keep the raw footage. I oftentimes use infinite white, but if you want to put, a live shot of something back there, eventually you can. If you want to put a PNG of some sort, you can. So I try to do all my recorded video stuff. Again, we're talking about recorded video against a background, because then once it's in Final Cut Pro or iMovie, my options are unlimited.
Anybody else with a question? Okay.
This one's about Snapchat. So, you spoke about, how to leverage Snapchat for people marketing, adding your logo or your website. In the future, in your personal opinion, what other nuances or kind of features do you think Snapchat will implement to better optimize the campaign?
So he's asking what other features in the future Snapchat may implement beyond the ability to, add your logo and things like that could be helpful for marketers. Steph, do you want to take this?
Sure. What I've noticed with Snapchat is when they do allow people to run ads, it has to just blend really well with the content. So it has to be, it's not salesy at all in the slightest bit. So I think eventually, right now you can pay to add a geo filter, and I think eventually they'll switch to a model. It's going to take a lot of time, but they'll switch to something where you can probably promote like you do on other platforms. But it's going to be very restricted as to, there's no links. So you have to be really creative with how you feature your brand, because they're not going to let you promote a coupon code. They're not going to let you post a link. I don't think they're going to go to that format. I think they're going to stick with just video and things that are not really clickable. So you have to be more creative with the content that you put on there.
Anybody else? Oh.
Is there any types of products on a live stream that you see sells better than others?
So he's asking if there's any other types of products that you see that specifically sell better than others.
I'm not going to say any that sell any better than others. I would say maybe higher production quality value. I'm a big fan of the telestream up there that was up there, the Wirecast, because it allows you to basically use your laptop to almost like a video studio. You can switch in between stills and you can switch in between multiple live streams if you ever wanted to. On the higher end. Plus, that product also allows you to live stream multiple platforms at the same time. You can live stream to Facebook and live stream to YouTube Live and whatever, probably Ustream and livestream.com. That software allows you to take one video input and stream to all of them at the same time.
So I'm glad that you answered that,
Right.
but I interpreted your question that, and maybe I'm wrong, but that you were saying, are there specific types of products, like whether you meant like, is it T-shirts,
Affiliate
is it tickets,
products.
is
Oh,
it,
I'm sorry. Okay.
Beauty does really
apparel
well.
that does better?
Beauty does really, really well. Anything that you can demonstrate or put on, because so she has a product that she puts in her hair, and then I see a lot of girls that they're promoting makeup, and they'll put the different colors on their skin so you can see like what it actually looks like. So beauty and clothing,
I think personal care, not
Yeah.
super personal care. but
because
yeah.
if you're selling something online, say you're selling like a T-shirt, it's kind of hard to see like how does it really fit, how does it really look. So if you have someone wearing it, I mean that makes a big difference. So if it's something you can put like on your body, that does really well on video. So I would say like beauty and clothing are some of the top ones.
Just for the record, I've tried selling makeup online and putting it on. It does not work well for me personally, but
Is there anybody else with a question? Yes.
What's the best practice to build like if you're launching a product and you don't have a lot of traffic, to build organic traffic to live stream?
I hate to make you repeat, but there's like an air conditioner. So what's the best way
So
to
the best way
get
to-
traffic
yeah,
if
to-
you're launching a product? Okay, so do you already have a presence on Facebook? You have a page for your company? Okay, and you're engaging people there okay. So what do you guys think that he's already got a Facebook page?
I mean, one thing I did with a client that was pretty new, and he was actually doing stuff on YouTube. ads on YouTube and the cost for the ads on YouTube are, pennies. So if you want to launch something new and you don't already have like an audience built in, if you put something on YouTube, you can run ads on there and the cost is very, very low. I don't know if you want to elaborate since you do more YouTube.
I was just going to say that from what I understand, because Google owns YouTube, that if you're doing stuff on YouTube, that I'm not saying that I have knowledge that there's specific preferential treatment, but that those videos do very well in Google.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they do.
yeah, I mean, Stephanie's right. I did a campaign a while back for a motorcycle company. We did videos, and again, we're leaning more towards the recorded video side, but we were getting thousands upon thousands of views at 3 cents a pop. Can't get much cheaper than that.
Even on Facebook, I have a video I'm running, and I think it costs like 1 cent. So, I mean, it depends on who you're targeting, and but I've seen that the videos cost a lot less to get video views. You can also run ads that is focused like in YouTube to send traffic back to your website as well. Those are more expensive.
The other thing, one more thing to answer that. The other thing is to hire somebody who knows how to do it. Don't try to do it. I'm one of those that, let somebody who does it best do it for you. It's so much work. Your time is too valuable for you to relearn it and try to figure it out. Just find somebody who does it.
And I think we've got time for one more, and did you?
We're-
Yeah, what's the fastest way to boost Snapchat followers? So like right now, I've got
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
You've got to ask the question.
Yeah, so he would like to know what the fastest way to boost Snapchat followers is.
Okay, it's very different because since Facebook doesn't own it, it's not like when you got on Instagram, you could just connect it with everybody that you knew on Facebook. So it is harder to get followers. So you first just connect it to your phone book and like who's in there, and you start with that. But the main thing that I've done and I've seen people do is putting your Snap code picture as your profile picture, or in Facebook, you know how you can have a set photo to show up like as your favorite photos. You can put it in there or as your profile picture. And then if you're shipping anything out to people, like if you're doing e-commerce, you can put like a sticker or your Snap code in there. You could also promote giveaways. Like you can, like we'll do a giveaway. We'll promote it on Instagram, but we'll send people over to Snapchat to have to be involved with it. So they have to follow us on Snapchat, and we'll do the giveaway through there. But we'll promote it through other platforms. Now that they have the memories feature where you can download all your videos and save things more long term, we always post like videos or pictures from Snapchat on other platforms and tell people to follow us there. But really, we're just using the other social networks, and if you can actually physically send them something, putting it in there as well.
So I think that's all we have time for, and I want to thank everybody for coming. And these folks will be around to answer questions if you have them or want to come and pass a business card or contact us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.